Peace, peace. Peace to everybody who's watching. About to get ready for another live stream on this wonderful Wednesday evening. Wellness Wednesday. After Mindful Monday comes Truthful Tuesday, Wellness Wednesday. All right. So first of all, I want to thank everybody who copped this book. This is a book that I wrote called Easy, A Guide to Mindfulness and Meditation. I appreciate y'all support. This is a book written for children ages 8 to 12 that teaches them mindful meditation in a fun, conversational, but also informative and educational way. The book is written in a way where there's chapter review questions, there's a glossary, and it covers the concepts of mindfulness and meditation, as well as mindfulness and meditation techniques. So they'll cover breathing, they will cover mindfulness, they will cover affirmation and visualization as the techniques to teach them how to be mindful, how to meditate, teaches them how to self-regulate, teaches them how to control their emotions, teaches them how to feel empowered, how to feel loved. So I think that you should, if you're watching this video, go to www.devinmccrory.com. That's DEVINMCCROREY.com. DEVINMCCROREY.com. And that's where you can get the book Easy, A Guide to Mindfulness and Meditation. All right? Check it out. I think you'll like it. I think your kids will like it. So we're going to begin our live stream momentarily. I'm just waiting for Insight Timer to get ready. Shout out to everybody watching on Instagram. Everybody who gonna watch this on YouTube. Nothing but love and peace for everybody there, everybody here, everybody around the world. And we will begin shortly. In the meantime, in between time, I hope everybody's blessed. I hope you have inner peace. Hope you feel love. And I hope you feel a real strong urge to be more righteous. When you find peace within yourself, it's easy to be righteous. So many people are wicked and hurtful and twisted in their thinking and destroy everything around them because they have no inner peace. Once you find inner peace, you'll find righteousness. I want you to be righteous so you can bring peace to more people around you. Find inner peace, become righteous, bring peace to those around you. All right? So, hopefully everybody out there in the world is all right. It's a lot going on. A lot of us are dealing with a lot of things. And usually I have a lot of notes. I do a lot of research before I begin. This time I have not. I'm taking it easy, taking it slow, because this is a topic that I feel needs a lot of care. And I rather this time around, I'd rather not be super scientific and heavy on the research. I want to just take it easy. And we're going to talk about meditation and how meditation can be used as a tool to protect you from depression. And how it can even help you overcome depression. Controversial statement I just made. I can back it up. So Insight Timer is going to begin in a few moments, and we'll go a little bit more in depth. And once again, thank you for everybody who watches this video. Please like it, share it, send it to a friend, tell a friend to tell a friend. And once again, thank everybody for the support. Let's continue to grow. Insight Timer, I'm going to begin that in like 20 seconds. And I hope everybody's well. Just bear with me for a moment. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom. Insight Timer. Let's go. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings to Insight Timer. Peace and blessings. Let me know if you are here. If you're here, give me a hello. Say peace. Say what's up. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know how you're feeling. Gather around the campfire. We'll keep each other warm. Summer Star. Hello, how are you? As you come in, just wave, say hello, say peace. What's good? Everything's good. I'm feeling real good today. I woke up as me, so I know I'm lucky. Monica, how are you? How is everybody doing? Yeah, usually, and I want y'all to see, usually when I do my live streams, y'all know I usually have a lot of notes. Anthony, what's up? How you doing? This time I don't have any notes at all. I'm going to keep this one bare bones. I'm gonna keep it bare bones. Anthony, you sleepy? Yeah, me too. I had a rough day. Had to get up super early for a doctor's appointment. Then they told me I didn't have a doctor's appointment. Then they rescheduled it, so I had to leave and then go back. Then I had to get my sons. Then I had to, make them dinner. There's a lot of running around today. But I'm glad I'm here with you guys. My day was good. My day was beautiful. Nicole, hi from Oakland. What's up, Nicole? Hi from Maryland, by way of Connecticut. Daddy time. Yeah, daddy time. Love it. Gotta love it. Gotta love daddy time. They still up though. They're supposed to be asleep. They're supposed to be asleep. They keep popping up with new excuses. My son just popped up and said he can't sleep, but he keep having bad dreams. So how you having bad dreams if you can't sleep? You just want to hang out with daddy, which I understand. Your teen is up. So he's a teen. I mean, your teen is a teen. So, this ain't too late for a teen. But my little ones, they need to be in bed. I know a lot of you guys are your kids Dallas time. Okay, gotcha. A whole different time zone. I know a lot of you guys have veterans that you might have Veterans Day off. For those of you guys who don't work on Veterans Day, salute, enjoy. Salute to those that serve the country. I got a uncle that was in the military. He was in the Air Force. So how's everybody feeling tonight? And we're gonna get started as usual. We're gonna get started around the 7-minute mark. For right now, we're just chilling. We're just doing a check-in. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Hopefully everybody's blessed. Yep, give thanks to everybody who's serving. That's right. So how's everybody's week been thus far? How's everybody's week been thus far? How are y'all feeling? Let's do an emotional check-in real quick. Hopefully everybody's feeling okay. I know there's a lot going on in the world. If you're feeling stressed out, let it out now. You can talk now. That's what we're here for. Cool thing about Insight Timer is that it allows us an opportunity for us to communicate with one another. And so same thing with social media, same thing with YouTube, same thing with with Instagram, all that stuff. It allows us to check in with each other. Feeling blessed and healthy. Glad to hear that, Summer Star. That's great. That's great. Salute to everybody who's feeling really good, but also, salute to everybody who's struggling. We're all here for each other. So fulfilling week for you, Monica? Good, great. Fulfilling, that's a great word. That's a great word. That means it's better than just good. That means that it's on a deeper level. Excellent. Fellow Texans in the building. That's right. Let's see. We're going to wait a little bit, see who else piles in with us, and then we're going to get to it. But yeah, so just so everybody knows, you're doing better at finding calm when the world is going. I'm glad to hear that, Anthony. Yeah, meditation is great for that. It's great for finding your center when everything else seems like it's going crazy. Meditation is excellent for helping you find your center and stay rooted, so things don't fall apart. That's excellent. And just so everybody knows, I'm glad to be here to communicate with you guys, and you guys are support for me as well. Doing this with you guys, connecting with you guys, sharing my experiences is beautiful for me too. So I'm glad that we're here for each other. Yeah, Insight Timer is amazing. I remember years ago when I was going through a lot of depression and stuff, I discovered Insight Timer. I can't even remember where I found it at, but I discovered Insight Timer and I started using it like consistently, like daily, all the time. And it was like such a blessing for me to be a part of those groups and meditate and listen to the meditation music. And it was amazing. I loved it. You want to hear more on social media? Yeah, that's the whole point. That's beautiful, Angel. That's the whole point. Consistency is the hard part, Trisha. Yeah, that's very hard. It's very hard. But there's something I heard somewhere that said if you do something 19 times in a row, it becomes a habit. So if you just think about it like that, and I could just do 19 days. You were off FB for 3 weeks. Did Summer Star when you was off FB, they had you in FB jail, or you just weren't using it? I had a bunch of friends of mine who were in FB jail. They got locked off FB for posting all kinds of nothing too bad. At least nothing I would consider bad. But censorship is really strict nowadays on Facebook, especially. I think Facebook is probably the worst. Find the community here. Okay, great. All right, we're getting close to that 7-minute mark. We're getting close to that 7-minute mark. So we're gonna dive on in a couple of seconds. So yeah, so before we begin, I just want to say that anybody who wants to throw a donation in the pot, it'll be greatly appreciated. Right now, I'm getting donations merely just to help me continue to promote my book and market my book. I can't, Inside Timer has strict rules about what I can and can't promote here, so I can't say, hey, go buy my book. But I can't ask you guys for help and support as far as promoting the book at other places. So if you guys feel like donating, if you feel inspired to, it's greatly appreciated. And if you can't, that's fine too. I'm just glad that you guys are here. All right, so we're at the 7-minute mark, so let's get started. So what I want to talk about tonight, and as I mentioned earlier, I don't have no notes. It's all just about what's coming out of my head, what's coming out of my mouth is just from the spirit, from the ancestors. So I didn't want to write anything down. I wanted to make this as simple and personal as possible. So, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Michaelia. So, listen, I know there's a lot of people on Insight Timer who may be struggling. And I just want, if you can, give me a thumbs up, give me a show of hands. How many people are dealing with, have dealt with depression, or have people who are dealing with some form of depression? And I'll raise my hand first. And if you feel uncomfortable answering, that's fine. I'll raise my hand first. I've dealt with serious depression over the years. Trisha, yes, you too. Angel, yes. Okay. Creative, thank you. Thank you guys for sharing. Okay. Clyde, MDD. Okay. So yeah, I had a friend of mine who dealt with that as well. Moon, yes. So I'm seeing a lot of yeses, a lot of people, 100% hands going up. Anthony, thank you. Michaela, thank you. I definitely will have to say that like depression was male. Thank you. Thank everybody for sharing. And it's tough, and it's a huge struggle. And I could honestly say this. When I was going through depression, and I've told my story a couple of times, I'll tell you a little bit about it again. If you heard it before, like comedians say, if you heard this one, stop me. But yeah, I've told my story. My story kind of starts when I was young. When I was a young kid, I was about 7 years old, and there was abuse in my household. And from my memories when I was a kid, I had a pretty sweet childhood. I mean, we didn't have a whole lot, but my family was close. My parents seemed to be happy on the surface. Me and my brothers, we played together all the time. We were close to our cousins. We would see our cousins and see our aunts like multiple times out of the week. We seemed to have a pretty healthy family structure, even though we were growing up and we didn't have a whole lot. But that didn't matter. We had fun. We had a ball. There's a lot of love in the family. When I hit 7 years old, I became aware that things were changing in the household. And at first, I wasn't sure in what way. At first, it just seemed like the vibe changed, the temperature changed, the atmosphere changed. There was a subtle difference in things, and I couldn't quite put it into words, but something was off. Then my parents started arguing more and more, right? And then the argument turned into abuse. And I'd seen abuse in my household when I was a kid. And that traumatized me to the point where even as an adult, I was still dealing with the consequences of that. And I don't point the finger at anybody. I don't point the finger at my dad. Who knows what he was going through? I think now that I'm older and I understand a little bit better, I think my dad may have been going through depression as well. That don't excuse nothing that happened, but I think he was going through depression as well. And hurt people. And I ended up growing up being hurt. And I remember just as a kid, and I don't want to get too into it, but I remember just as a kid, like moments when my mom was being abused and I tried to like save her. And it was hard because I love my mom so much, but I was a daddy's boy, to be honest. I love my mom, but I was a daddy's boy. So when you're like 7 years old and you got to stand up to your dad, not only is it scary, but it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. And it made like relationships and intimacy and feeling close to people difficult for me for a long time. And for years and years of my life, I was depressed, but I kind of just took it as just life. Unfortunately, I think that's one thing that we do. if you've done that as well when you were younger, you know where I'm coming from. Where when you're depressed, but you feel like, hey, life just sucks. Period. So me being depressed is just how a natural reaction to life. And especially if you're a nerd, I was a nerd. So, you read about existentialism, you read about angst and ennui, and you learn all these fancy terms for depression. And you think that life just has no meaning, that there's no substance to anything, and you're just depressed. And you feel like that's logical and reasonable. But then I started looking at the world around me and realizing that there were other people who didn't feel the way I felt. And for years, I felt like they were just dumb. I felt like, oh, well, you guys are so happy. You must not be as well informed as I am. But eventually, I realized I was going through depression. And my depression was so intense that I had suicidal ideations all day, every day. Literally wake up in the morning, ask myself, is today the day I'm going to kill myself? And then just go through a routine in my mind. Okay, am I going to kill myself at home or not? And at the time I was living with my younger brother and my older brother. I was in my 20s. I said, no, I can't kill myself at home because I don't want my younger brother to find me. That'll traumatize him. So then I thought, okay, I can go to my job. I used to work at a hospital. I go to my job. I could take one of the scalpels, go into the bathroom and kill myself. And then I was like, nah, I can't kill myself in the bathroom because, what if one of the cute girls that work at the hospital find me laying on the floor and, my pants fall down or something. Like just all kinds of, like, it was almost comedic except for the fact that it was just so dark and so self-destructive. And so every day that was my pattern. That was my routine up well into my 20s. At this time, I was probably about 24, 25. And it got to the point where I started to feel like I used to be one of the individuals that I was always sick. And I started to feel the physical burden of depression. I started to feel the physical effects of depression. And, even to this day, I got high blood pressure. I think my depression of all those years and all that cortisol in my body kind of made me, prone to high blood pressure. So anyway, it got to the point where it was so bad where I started to have severe panic attacks, but I didn't really know what a panic attack was or what an anxiety attack. Well, I didn't really know what it was. I thought I was going to die. And anybody who's heard me tell this story before, this is back when the TV show House was really popular. Remember that show House? About that doctor, his last name was House, like John House, something stupid like that. And he was like this wacky doctor who could figure out all these crazy cases. So if it was a lady that came in with like chest pain, but her heart was fine, and he would find like some weird esoteric illness with a molecule that could make her feel like she was having a heart attack when she really wasn't. That guy, House. So I honestly thought that it was something really strange and bizarrely wrong with me. And I felt like I needed like a super doctor like House to figure out what was happening. But it turns out that one day I was at the hospital again, the ER. They were checking my body, couldn't find anything wrong. Had me in the hospital overnight, couldn't find anything wrong. And then it got to the point where there was a doctor. I'm in the hospital. I'm in the hospital bed. And I'm all over the place. I apologize. I'm not being specific enough. So one night I had a really bad panic attack. It was so bad I ended up in the hospital. As I'm in the hospital, I'm laying in the bed. They're running all kinds of tests on me all night. They have no idea what's going on. The hospital room that I'm in is really, really hectic. There's me and there's another guy who's to the right of me. And I think he was having a heart attack or something. So there was a whole bunch of doctors and nurses all around. And I'm laying in the bed and a doctor walks in. Doctor walks in, goes check on the guy who's next to me, right? And he looks at me, picks up the chart. He says, okay, give him this pill. And he just kind of walks out. Didn't really give me no real introduction. Didn't tell me what the pill was. Jesse, how you doing? So I fill out the prescription for that pill that he gave me. It was called metoprolol, right? I took that pill and he told me it was for blood pressure. Okay. My blood pressure was through the roof because I was having a panic attack. So I thought that maybe I was just having a weird blood pressure issue. He gave me the pill. I took the pill. I just felt weird. Didn't like the way I felt. I felt like I was disassociating. I felt like I was watching myself. I felt like I was in my body, but like watching something happen to me that I didn't understand. I mean, obviously I was in the middle of a mental breakdown, but I didn't like the way the pill made me feel. It made me feel weird. Made me feel like I wasn't there fully within myself. And after that, I decided I hated pills. I didn't want to take pills anymore. So I decided what I was going to do was I said to myself, okay, I'm going to figure out what's going on here. So I spoke to my doctor. looks at me and he says, okay, well, they can't find anything wrong with you physically, so I'm thinking it's an anxiety thing. And when he said that, everything clicked. And he said, it's an anxiety thing. And I just realized, okay, the issue is in my mind. So it's not a physical problem. It's not a heart condition. It's not, a blood pressure condition. It's not a lung condition. It's not a blood clot. It was in my mind. So I said to myself, okay, if the problem exists within my mind, then I'm going to use my mind to solve the problem. And that was a line that actually came from that movie, A Beautiful Mind, with Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe was playing a character who was a mathematical genius, but he started suffering from hallucinations due to schizophrenia. And he didn't want to take the medications they were giving him. They made him unable to perform sexually, and the medications had other kinds of side effects that he didn't like. He felt he couldn't think clearly. So he said he wanted to get off the pills. And he wanted to use his mind to solve the problem. Now, of course, looking back on it, I realized it's kind of a reckless thing for me to do. It's kind of a reckless thing for me to do. But I guess at the time I was a reckless guy. I felt like, let's go for it. So before that, I had been introduced to meditation. And I knew that mastering my mind was something I needed to do. Something in me told me, you're going to need this. And I remember when I was like 24, 25, I had been studying meditation a little bit. I had found a book called The Religions of Man by Houston Smith. I was studying Hinduism and studying Buddhism. I was trying to meditate, but at the time I was too hyped. I was too restless. I was an insomniac. I wasn't sleeping. I was constantly chugging coffee and Red Bull, drinking whiskey, staying up for days on end. I was going insane, but I couldn't sit still to meditate. So then by the time I turned 30 and I had that real severe panic attack, ended up in the hospital, I remembered meditation. Can't control the hype. Exactly. I was way too hyped as a young man. I didn't care about nothing. I'll tell you some stories, boy. But anyhow, so by the time I turned 30, I had that panic attack. I was in the hospital. I decided I had to go back to meditating. And I didn't really know what to do. It was all kind of a weird instinctive thing. It was a very instinctive thing. And I said to myself, I have to learn how to meditate. So I remember I just thought of a phrase. I am in the present moment. I can't even remember where I got that from. Maybe I got it from reading those meditation books. Maybe it was a phrase that I heard from read The Religions of Man by Houston Smith. I was an avid reader back then, so I picked it up from somewhere. Can't recall where. So I sat down one day and I just said that for 5 minutes straight. I am in the present moment. I am in the present moment. I am in the present moment. And just that 5 minutes a day brought a really profound sense of ease and peace into me. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that it solved all my problems instantly. I still had depression, still had low self-esteem, still had a ton of other issues going on, still had intimacy issues, right? But just beginning that 5 minutes was the beginning of me changing my life. And it became an everyday ritual. And I remember at that point in time, me and my girlfriend, I ended up marrying her afterward. But me and my girlfriend at the time, we worked different hours. I think she was working second shift or something like that. And I was working first shift. So I would get off work first shift, go home, sit and meditate for 5 minutes, relax, chill. And then she'd come home a little bit later. And I would just be in a really calm, cool, quiet, peaceful place. And she saw me break down. She saw me in the hospital. She sat next to me while I was in that hospital bed. And then for her to see me begin to make that change and that progress, I felt good that I was able to stand on my own 2 feet and be stronger for her and be stronger for myself as well. So that process of meditation really began to stabilize me a little bit. And it was rough at first. And I've said this before. They tell you that, life is a day-by-day fight. And it is. Life is a day-by-day fight. But if you're going through depression, let it go, find your flow. I like that, Jack. They say life is a day-by-day fight, and it is a day-by-day fight. But with depression, it's not a day-by-day fight. It's a minute-by-minute fight. Because you're fighting your own thoughts. And if you're a person who's been depressed for 10 years and struggling with depression since childhood and struggling with anxiety since childhood, that's 10, 20, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. of your brain solidifying into this persona of fear, anxiety, depression, sadness. And you have to fight really hard to change that. You have to fight really hard to change that. And I did my damnedest to fight every single step of the way. And I did the work. And it wasn't easy, but I did the work. And one thing I did that I'm glad I did, I actually went to school. Now I'm not gonna say I'm glad I chose this profession, but I went to school. I got my associates in psychology. It was a lot of learning involved. And I took psychology because I wanted to figure out what was my issue. I wanted to know myself on a deeper level. So I learned about attachment styles and insecure attachments and low self-esteem and, you know, the different kinds of morality and different kinds of development, stages of personal development, John Piaget and all that other stuff. And as I learned all this stuff in psychology, I started to feel like a deeper understanding of myself. And I began to learn what I needed more. And I began to learn how what I had gone through was affecting me at that moment. Because a lot of us go around having these horrifying, traumatic experiences, but we feel like it doesn't affect us. Right? That's why so many of us convince ourselves that we don't need therapy, because we say, yeah, I saw, my mom get abused, but hey, I'm fine. I'm all right. I'm great. I saw somebody get shot when I was a kid, but I'm fine. These things happen. We convince ourselves that what happened back then has no impact on us now, which is you got to be the most skillful deceiver to even believe something like that. You have to be a skillful deceiver. And that's the thing with depression. Depression is a skillful deceiver. It'll distort and twist your whole perception of reality. Things that are logical and make sense will seem strange and bizarre to you. And things that are completely self-destructive will seem so natural to you when you're depressed. Staying up for 3 or 4 days straight and drinking whiskey seems totally reasonable. I remember one thing that I used to do, and this is definitely a dark story, but I remember me and a friend of mine, we both had depression. And this is something that you do when you're depressed. You form tribes. People who are depressed form tribes of other depressed people. So it was me and a friend of mine was dealing with manic depressive disorder. And we used to both drink a lot. And one day we wanted to get drunk and get high at the same time. And we didn't have no weed. Neither one of us are really weed smokers. But he had just had a son. So his girlfriend had like a bottle of Percocet, right? And she had a C-section, so she had the Percocet, but she didn't like Percocet. It made her feel sick and nauseous, so she never took it. So we was like, yeah, let's get high off this Percocet. And we look at the side of the bottle of Percocet, and right on the side it says, do not mix with alcohol. So we took 2 of them and I chased it with a fifth of scotch, and he chased it with some Hennessy. And I remember we passed out and woke up the next day, and we looked at each other and started dying laughing. And I said to myself, damn, we ain't dead yet. Like I'm like disappointed. Disappointed that it didn't kill us in our sleep. That's how sick I was. And that seemed normal to me. Yeah, all education creates wisdom. You're very right, Pammy. That seemed normal to me. That seemed the whole idea that I'm gonna pop a pill, a high caliber, high potent pill that people use for pain relief. I'm gonna pop that pill, drink, in the hopes that I can get messed up enough where it'll kill me. It wouldn't kill me. Pammy, you been there? Chris, you hear me? I'm glad that we can connect and understand each other's pain. And it was crazy. And then I remember we would just take ridiculous risks. AK, I see your message is very long. I can't really read it right now. I'll go back and read, because I can watch the replay. I'll go back and watch the replay and I'll read your message, AK, okay? No, like, hey, don't feel sorry. Let it out. It's okay. I wish that we could talk. Hopefully in the future, Insight Timer will have it so we can have like a Zoom meeting type thing where I could like talk to you guys. That'd be cool. So that way you won't have to feel sorry for typing so much. I'm glad you got it out, AK. You've been sober 36 years, Pammy? Damn near killed you? Yeah, it damn near killed me. And at the root of that, because I used to drink a lot too, at the root of it is pain. And we try to cover up the pain by self-medicating with alcohol. And I realized something too. I realized that the more heavy duty your drug of choice is, the more pain you have. I've met kids who were, 15, 16-year-old heroin addicts. Now, when I was a kid, the idea of being 15 and using heroin was like, who would do that? In my 15-year-old mind, who would do that? Now it's so common because so many of the kids that I work with and I've been around are dealing with heavy duty pain. And they're taking painkillers to deal with the physical agony and pain of their emotions. The emotions that you feel tie into your physical sensations. So you could literally have a broken heart. They call it a broken heart. It feels like your heart is broken. It feels like physical pain. And so these guys are using all these analgesics or analgesics, however you pronounce it, to take away that pain. And that's what I was doing. I realized that that's what I was doing. I was trying to take away the pain. But then I discovered that meditation was another way of dealing with the pain. So what I did was, at the time, I meditated every single day. And after the first 6 months, I felt really different. My world was beginning to change. Not saying that I was completely healthy, not saying that everything went away and my world was much, much better, but things were changing for me. And I began to enjoy simple, small things. And I remember I would like go for jogs, right? I would go for jogs and then come back. And in the apartment building where me and my girlfriend were living, there was this tree. I would sit under the tree and just meditate. Or I would listen to like an Amit Goswami lecture. I don't know if you guys know who Amit Goswami is. He's Indian astrophysicist who talks about consciousness and physics. It's really interesting. And I remember one day I was sitting underneath that tree, eyes closed, meditating, and I just felt the breeze against my skin. And this very simple, very, very, very simple sensation was enough to it was just the most beautiful thing in the world. And in order for me to feel any kind of beauty or peace before, I had to be intoxicated, or I had to be with a woman, or it had to be something crazy going on for me to feel a sense of excitement or peace or exhilaration. But when I began to meditate, it was when I began to meditate, the smallest things could bring exhilaration. The smallest things. Looking at a flower could really hypnotize you. Can I spell what, AK? I'm sorry. But Amit Goswami, AmitGoswami. Amit Goswami. Very sharp guy. So yeah, going back to what I was saying, I discovered that meditation made it so that I will feel exhilarated over the smallest things. So instead of me feeling crushed by everything, I began to feel uplifted and inspired by the littlest things you could imagine. And so I began to read more, study more. I wanted to learn more about myself. I wanted to learn more about how things had gone wrong so I could steer myself in the right direction. And it was still a lot of work. I had to keep going to therapy, had to keep having tough conversations. It took a long time, it took some years. But at least I can honestly say that the first 6 months, I was able to stabilize myself. After the first year, I was able to change how I perceive myself. After the first year and a half, I can honestly say that I believe I overcame depression, overcame it. Now, did I still have moments where I needed a little extra support? Yes. Did I still need to change how I thought about things? Yes. Did I still have a lot of work to do? Yes. But I wasn't running around breaking down in tears. The suicidal ideations had stopped. I had found value in my life and value within myself. And that was a start. If you can do that, if you're a person who struggles with depression, if you can just do that, if you can just find value in yourself, you'll be surprised at how much of your life will change just based on that. Because a major part of depression is feeling like you don't have value. People become suicidal because they calculate in their mind their value and think that they don't have it. So we go around depressed with this distorted sense of reality. Yep, I say the same thing, Jesse. I am in the present moment. I am in the present moment. Yep. So because you calculate or miscalculate your value, you think to yourself, well, I don't have no value, so my life don't mean anything. So you either take a whole bunch of risks you don't need to take, you engage in self-destructive behavior, you self-sabotage, or you might harm yourself. All because you don't see you have no value. And why do you see that you have no value? Is because you're depressed. Depression is a cunning deceiver. Depression is literally a mental illness. Your mind perceives reality. Depression can shift how you perceive reality. It can shift how you perceive even yourself. It's a great liar. It's a fantastic liar. But I will tell you this: mindfulness and meditation helps you see things as they are. That's what mindfulness really is. Mindfulness is bringing your entire mind, your entire being into the present moment so you can see things as they are. It's not about magic. It's not about, it's not about anything. Well, it is about magic and it is about mysticism. I ain't gonna lie. Y'all know, if you watch my other live streams, y'all know I love that mystical stuff. But even that is really about just seeing us as we are and our true potential. And I look back on certain decisions that I made and how I used to behave and what I used to allow around me. And it's based on me lying to myself. Yeah, you're right, Rita. It takes decades to descend and it will take time to ascend. But believe it or not, with focus and with knowledge, your ascent can be much faster than your descent. It can take you 20 years to descend and then 1 year to get cleaned up and change your life around. See things as they truly are should be depressing and enlightening. You know what, Rita? I agree. But at the same time, I feel like this. Seeing things as they truly are is only really enlightening. If you choose to be depressed by it, that's because you're once again miscalculating your value, miscalculating your abilities and your potential. You can see things as they truly are and be depressed, or you can say, I see things as they truly are and I can change myself and become stronger and overcome this. I can beat this. And even if something you can't change, you could change yourself. And eventually you can overcome it by changing yourself. There's only light. In Kabbalah, they say that our relationship with God is based purely upon bestowal. That means that God is always blessing us. That's it. That's it. We only being blessed. Even when we go through tough times, that's a blessing too, depending upon your perception. And I know that I've seen things as they truly are. And I faced, in existentialism, they call it facing the void. I faced the void for sure. And sat and asked all those tough questions. What's the meaning of life? Will I ever be loved? Will I ever feel like I truly connect with other people? And then I stopped and asked myself, okay, you're asking all these big questions. What's your relationship like with you? Who are you? And what's your relationship like with yourself? We ask all these big questions because we're constantly looking for external validation. We're looking for an external savior. So everything else, what's my meaning of life? Well, what's your relationship like with yourself? Start with something simple. Do you like you? Do you love you? What are you going to do for you? And I don't mean that in a selfish way, but I mean, if you have a sense of value, you're going to do things to empower yourself and love yourself and nurture yourself. All those other big questions, they become less relevant when you're able to love yourself. Exactly. Careful with yourself. Exactly. Meditation is interesting because when you think about depression, right? Think about depression and what is depression? If you have a depressive disorder or if you are dealing with depression, what is it? Well, essentially it is a neurochemical, biological, physiological phenomena, right? You have chemicals in your brain or a lack of chemicals in your brain that make you feel a certain way. They cause your brain and your body to react a certain way because certain chemicals like cortisol and epinephrine and all that other kind of stuff, it makes you feel nervous and afraid. The adrenaline makes you feel like you're in danger. You feel drained all the time because there's a lack of certain chemicals in your brain, right? But the activity of depression, the activity of meditation can actually generate certain chemicals in your brain. If you meditate, you can actually generate dopamine through meditation. So if there's a lack of dopamine that's causing you to feel a certain way, well, meditation will help you create dopamine. Meditation will help you create endorphins. Meditation will help you develop more mirror neurons so you can feel more connected to other people. Meditation will actually shut down the prefrontal cortex that's always super rationalizing and overthinking. Meditation will help you see things as they are. Your memory will improve and your ability to focus will improve. And that's the most important thing, because depression keeps you from focusing. You can only focus on danger. Depression is, like that old show, Buck Rogers, Danger, Will Robinson, Danger. That's depression. Your body is essentially telling you that there's a threat around. And so it responds with anxiety and with depression. So because your body thinks that there's a constant external threat, and then what happens is certain chemicals nestle in your body and affect your body. But when you meditate, you can change your neurochemical output. You're making all these chemicals that make you feel happier. You create oxytocin. Imagine having that ability to do that. Deep rest equals depression. It is. AK, yeah, I've been there too. When you're depressed and you have anxiety, it makes you not want to do anything. And then you feel bad for not doing anything. You get angry at yourself. But once again, that's depression. Depression is a liar. Depression makes you not want to do anything. Then it tells you, oh, it's your fault you're not doing anything. It takes away your motivation, and then it blames you for not being motivated. That's depression. Yeah, at first it started off, good question, Trisha. So it started off with me meditating 5 minutes a day, every single day. I think that lasted for about 4 months. Then I said, wow, that feels pretty good. Let me do it a little bit longer. So then it became 7 minutes. Then it became 10 minutes. Then it became 20 minutes. Then at one point in time, I was meditating like 15 minutes a day, multiple times a day. So I would like meditate while I was driving to work. That was a big one for me, because I would drive into work and get to work super early. And as I'm driving to work super early, there was no traffic, so I could just go. And I'm on a highway driving, and I'm just repeating to myself, I'm in the present moment. I'm in the present moment. I'm in the present moment. Right? Then I would get off work. And once I got off work, I would go home and meditate for like 5 or 10 more minutes. So that's how I would meditate. And then it got to the point where I would get up in the morning, take a shower, and I would do a gratitude meditation where I would just think of all the things I'm grateful for and just say, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for everything. And then I would meditate on the way to work while driving sometimes. And then I would get home from work and meditate, or I'll get home and then meditate at the end of the day after my kids are in bed, listen to some Insight Timer and meditate, or listen to like a lecture and meditate. Inhale, exhale, right? Exactly. So the thing about it is that what you realize is this. I just started working out again. At one point in time, I weighed like 208 pounds. I was able to bench press 265 pounds. That was like my max. I was trying to get to 300, but I couldn't get past that 265. But anyhow, now I'm weightlifting again. I think I could bench press. I bench press I work out with 200 pounds. I do 200 pounds, like 3 sets of 5 or something like that, which is, for me, that's low. That's very, very low. But I realize that if I keep going and keep pushing, I'm going to keep getting stronger, right? My body's going to change based upon the consistency with which I'm working out. Same thing with your brain. Anything you do for prolonged periods of time consistently, peace is going on. Anything you do consistently for prolonged periods of time, guess what's going to happen? You're going to create change in you. Now, say, for instance, if you're a person who you get off work, sit in front of the TV and watch TV for 4 hours every day for a year. That's going to change how your brain operates. Movement is medicine. I agree, Jack. So if you're watching TV 4 hours every day for a year, it's going to change how your brain operates. It's going to change how you focus. It's going to change what you focus on. It's going to change how you talk to people. It's going to change your moods, right? If you do anything for a prolonged period of time, it's going to change how your brain operates. And the same thing with meditation. Meditation is something that's sold to us that's this unbreakable, unshakable mental illness that can't be cured. But I don't want to be too controversial, but I asked the question, how do they know that? How do they know it can't be cured? How do they know that with therapy, and if you needed medicine and meditation, who's to say you can't cure it? Who's said you can't? Who told you that? What scientist said, oh yeah, we've done the research, we studied this, we know it can't be overcome? Who told you that? I've studied meditation for years. And I'm not talking about just the spiritual stuff. Y'all know I love that spiritual stuff. I break it down every chance I get. But I do the science of it too. I know I've done the studies about individuals who have had PTSD. Yeah, you're welcome, Shaban. I've done the studies and seen the studies, peer-reviewed studies. I'm going to college, so I know I got to seek out peer-reviewed documentation. I've seen the peer-reviewed documentation on individuals who had PTSD from severe trauma going to war, come home, meditate, and they're able to control their emotions and self-regulate with meditation. I've read the studies about individuals who started using meditation after horrible natural disasters. Individuals who go through horrible trauma. I've done the studies with individuals in prisons who began studying meditation and mindfulness. Individuals who was almost psychopathic, murderers, gangbangers, gang members. And not only that, I'm going to tell you all up front. Exactly, Jack, what we think we become. And not only that, I'm going to tell y'all this too. I used to work at a drug rehab facility. I worked with kids who were gang members, kids who was dealing with severe depression, kids who were dealing with anger issues, kids who were dealing with sexual trauma, sexual confusion. I've dealt with it and I've done the research myself. And right now, I'm talking to the guys on Insight Timer. I'm talking to y'all on my tablet. Underneath my tablet is a computer. This is an old computer. I keep telling myself, throw it away. I won't throw it away because in this computer, I have data from when I used to do my meditation sessions with the kids at the school where I worked. And I have data on the kids who I've worked with at the drug rehab facility, and how meditation was changing them. I had kids who I would walk in on Saturday mornings to do my meditation classes with these kids, and they would rush me. They'd be, oh my God, Devin, I'm so glad you're here. I was just about to knock this dude out, but I want to meditate instead. I have the documentation and I've seen it. That's why I know meditation can change your brain. Meditation is primarily a neurological experience. So of course it's going to change your brain. Of course it's going to change your brain. I've done the research. And I'm one of those guys. I like being in the trenches. All those jobs I had where I was working with kids who, had trauma, and I was working in a drug rehab facility, working in a school with a lot of the kids who had issues at home, and I worked at what they call transitional living, where a lot of kids were getting out of institutions or getting out of juvenile detention. They were aging out of that, so they were transitioning from that to being on their own. I worked in that environment, and I'm telling you, I've seen some really tough cases, and I like being in the trenches with the worst of the worst. All the kids who like to fight, all the kids who don't want to listen, all the kids, I'm like, give me him. Let me work with him. I worked with a kid who stabbed his own brother, and he used to love me. Me and him was like, cool. I used to meditate with him too. I've seen it. So I know for a fact, if these young men and these young warriors who were abused, beaten, despised, traumatized, molested, tortured, thank you, Shaban. If they can change after only, because I would work with certain kids, so I would work with them for like the drug rehab facility. You work with kids for like 4 weeks, so that's 4 meditation sessions. After 4 meditation sessions, after one meditation session, quite often kids will start wanting more of it. They'll start wanting more of it because they like the change. It makes them feel different. And these are kids who are heavy pill poppers, kids who snort coke, kids who crush up pills and put it in a soda. They would rather meditate. I tell kids, when you leave, just meditate. They'd be like, Dad, when I leave, I'm scared I'm going to read. I'm like, all right, cool. So when you leave, just meditate. And if you need anybody, just call the facility. I'm here. We talk to me, whatever. And they started, if they got out and kept meditating, they'd be like, yo, I'm doing good. I was struggling, but I'm meditating. I'm still doing good, Dev. I'm like, all right, bet. Glad to hear that, my brother. And the ones who left and didn't meditate, what do you think happened? They went back to the pills to hide the pain. And meditation is tricky because it can open the door to pain, but at the same time, it shows you things as they truly are. So you're able to handle that pain a little bit better. I tell people all the time, the thing with drugs will hold back the pain, but the pain will keep getting stronger Stronger, stronger. I want you to hold it back. I'm saying, Jesse, I think that's the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me. But thank you. But yeah, so when you hold back that pain, it just keeps accumulating. It's like a dam. You put a dam in front of a river, and the river starts getting higher and higher and higher. That water's gonna overflow on that dam. But when you like just let it go, and let it flow into you, let it flow through you, you're able to handle it. But you gotta face it first. So many kids are afraid to face that pain. If you can get these kids to face that pain and give them the tools, that's the part where a lot of facilities slip up and mess up, is the fact that a lot of these kids, we tell them, handle that pain, be more mature, stop getting into fights, stop using drugs, drop out of gangs. Gangs are bad. We're telling them all of this, but we're not giving them the tools. And I think the greatest tool you can give anybody is meditation. It's a neurological experience. Violence is neurological. Trauma is neurological. So we can create an in-depth neurological experiment with these kids and with all people, they can change. And it's very unfair to me how we put all this pressure on kids to change. But a lot of adults don't want to do it. A lot of adults don't want to change. They'll rather just sit with the depression and keep popping pills and keep drinking, keep doing whatever. But going back to what I was saying before, who told you? Right, the proper toolbox is needed. But going back to what I said, how do these scientists know you can't overcome depression? That's the baffling part for me. How do you know you can't overcome it? Unless you try. And I don't advise nobody to do any of the things I've done, because I've done experiments with my own body and my own mind. And I was a little unsafe and a little reckless with my meditations. I used to meditate and draw all kinds of meditation experiments with no guru, no nothing. But I can honestly say, yeah, learn the basics and start with the basics. And if you can do the basics consistently, and then find a good teacher, find a good guru, find a therapist, yeah, why not? If you got everything you need to beat depression, why can't you? And I, when I was with my wife, she's a licensed clinician, a licensed counselor. I mean, she has like a master's in psychology, and she has her license. And I used to say that. I used to say, meditation can help you overcome depression. And she'd be like, no, you can't say that. You can't tell nobody that. And so every time we were trying to work on projects together, she would want everything worded a certain way to avoid controversy. But I'm just putting it out there. I think we can ask the question. And if anybody here is seeing a therapist, ask your therapist. Try it. See what you can do. Because I think a major part of my success in overcoming depression was the fact that I believed I could. I was reading about anxiety and reading about depression and reading about panic attacks. And I read a sentence that said, with some people, they may have a panic attack and never have one again. So that made me feel like, okay, well, I have hope. And I think that hope is what really gave me the ability to just keep going and overcome depression. And I'm telling you, I used to have depression to the point. I remember one time I was at the gym. I'm at the gym working out. I'm on the treadmill running. And I just became so overwhelmed with depression. I remember I just started crying. Big 200-pound dude, big water bottle. I had my Scully on. I was bench pressing crazy weight. I'm jogging on a treadmill, crying like a baby. That's how I mean, at one point in time when I was with my girlfriend before we got married, yeah, she was like, yeah, I think you need medication. Because I used to just have these just uncontrollable mood swings and low self-esteem and self-hate. I mean, we not together no more. But one thing I can honestly say, she's seen me at my lowest. She's seen me at my lowest. And we're still there. We might disagree on certain things. We might not be together no more. But I'll never bash her or say nothing negative about her, because she's seen me break down. That's how I know it can. I know, looking at how severe my situation was and how happy I am now and how stable I am now. People come to me now for stability. They come to me when they need a rock to lean on. So just putting it out there. If I could beat it, I believe somebody else could beat it. I believe I believe we all could beat it. Beat it. I'm not talking about manage it. I'm talking about beating it. It's a minute by minute fight. But if you fighting minute by minute, who's to say you can't win? Depression is an issue of the brain. The brain has elasticity. It can change. Who says you can't change it? Anything you do, any activity you engage in is changing your brain. Anything. When I at my job, when I'm at work, I'm in customer service. And we have to have all kinds of windows and tabs open on the screen to get our job done. And I used to have things arranged in a certain way. And I said, no, I don't want my brain to get stuck in one mode of working. I want to be able to adapt to anything. So every day now when I go and I adjust everything, I make everything totally different from how it was the day before. And I realize I'm getting better at my job. Now my brain can adapt much faster now. So all these little things that you do, if you do it consciously, you can change your brain. But you got to believe you can. And you got to know that depression is a liar. Depression will tell you can't do nothing. I mean, it's not, I can't do it. Who told you that? Your brain is lying to you. You say to yourself, I should get up and go for a walk. Your brain will be like, nah, you can't. And depression is just lying to you. Depression will make you feel like you can't do anything. You can't get up and walk. You know you can get up and walk, but depression is an eloquent liar, and it affects the body. It takes your motivation. But through meditation, you can begin to change that. And you don't have to start with no epic meditation quest. You can do, like I said, I started with 5 minutes. I needed those little 5 minutes. Now, if you can't sit quietly for 5 minutes, which I couldn't do at the time, I would just speak my words. And speaking the words was enough of a physical activity where it would hold my concentration. Everything began with a thought. That's right. Everything began with a thought. And then some people see now you got me about to go. I'm about to get mystical with it. I was trying to keep it simple, Jesse. Now you got me about to go mystical real quick. Everything is thought. Everything is thought. Everything is created in your mind. Everything is birthed from consciousness, from the supreme consciousness. I mean, think about it. Your brain is stuck in this airtight skull of yours. Your brain don't never see light. Never. Your brain can't see light. So your ears and your eyes and your mouth are sending signals to the brain telling you what reality is. But you don't know what none of this really is. We really just swirl in a sea of sensory input. We don't know how none of this is. I don't know if this tablet really looks like this. I don't know what color the sun really is. We're really not seeing anything. So all of it's in your mind. So you may as well just make the world you want. I think that's a big part of the reason, and this is a theory of mine, where if you have an artist draw a picture of a tree, another artist can draw a picture of the same tree and they look totally different. Because I think they're really seeing a different reality. Their brains are really creating a different reality. But that's just me. See, y'all got me mystical real quick. Y'all got me all mystical. But yeah, understand that. Your brain is creating your reality. And if you have a mental illness, then it's creating a distorted reality. And the goal is to retrain your brain to create the reality. I won't even say create the reality you want. Use your brain to make you a witness of the reality that truly exists, so you can see things as they truly are. Gems. All right. So before I go, let me just say I love all y'all. Thank y'all so much for being here. I'm so glad that we're able to support each other and link with each other. Thank you. I appreciate that, V2. I'm so glad I'm here with y'all, and thank you guys for showing up consistently. Thank you guys for being here. So next week I'm going to do another lecture. I want to go a little bit deeper on it next week as well. Thank you for the donation, Anthony. I appreciate it. I may do another one of these about depression, or I might talk a little bit about my experiences with anxiety. But next week I'm going to keep it simple. I know I've been going really mystical. I mean, last week I did one about the body as a doorway to God. I've done other ones about mystical interpretations of the Song of Solomon. I mean, I've done all kinds of stuff. But the next couple that I do, I want to keep them a little bit simpler. Just because I really feel like there's a lot of people who need like just the simple, basic stuff, because we're all struggling and going through it right now. So yeah, so I'm gonna see y'all again next week. Jesse, thank you for the donation. Thank everybody who donated. Thank everybody who showed up. Peace and blessings to all of you guys. I love you and good night. Peace.